All right, so let's get this thing kicked off. So, welcome everybody to the iMatrix webinar, Summer's Hottest Destination. Let's move to the next slide to figure out who I am. I am Justin Allen. I am the Director of Account Development and Product Strategy here at iMatrix. I have been with the company for going on about 5 years now, and I've worked for companies like GoDaddy, as one of the largest ones, all the way to a lot of smaller ones that have a lot to do with internet marketing, SEO, and I've basically been in this industry for, oh gosh, close to 11, 12 years. So today we are going to be talking about SEO. And for those of you who are in the know, fantastic. We'll go over some more detailed stuff. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with what SEO is, I want to give you kind of a brief explanation. We're going to kind of review what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to jump into it. So SEO is, very plainly put, search engine optimization, and it is crucial to your business, especially if you rely on the internet to drive new patients your way. And really, it's all about improving how people are finding you. And so we're going to go into that today, and we're going to do that in a couple of ways. So today, we're going to talk about how search engines work. We're going to talk a little bit more about Google's search algorithm and kind of what it is and how it works. We're going to talk about really the basic mistakes that a lot of businesses do make and how to avoid them. We're going to talk about the importance of having mobile responsive website, the value of having custom content on your website. We're going to talk about why SEO is crucial for your practice or business, and I have a feeling you'll be able to pick that up on your own, but we're going to go into it in detail. And lastly, really what you can do to maximize your efforts, what you should be focusing your attention on. So let's jump into the basics of what we're talking about. So really, search engines, including Google, which is a lot of what we talk about, what they do is they crawl websites. And their job when they crawl the websites is to add them to their big database of listings. And the search engine then uses what they call an algorithm to rank and index the websites and individual web pages on their results pages. So basically, where you come up on a search for really what you do. And the whole point of Google and what they want to do is provide the user with the best possible answer to whatever it is they're searching for. So if the question is, what's the weather going to be like today? Google wants to be able to answer that question for them or provide the best possible website that does, in fact, answer that question. So with that in mind, we kind of want to really define what SEO really is. And obviously, SEO stands for search engine optimization. But what does that really mean when we talk about SEO? Really, SEO is a set of best practices that can be implemented on or off a website. These practices satisfy Google or Bing or Yahoo's search engine algorithm and thereby improve its chance of being ranked well by the search engines. So this way, your result naturally appears in the search engine's organic or unpaid results section. The goal of SEO is to help the website rank as close to the #1 position on a results page as possible. Again, SEO is really a set of best practices. So there isn't just one component of SEO, but really hundreds. Examples of SEO strategies include having a mobile responsive website design, having quality custom content, using proper HTML coding, creating sitemaps, making sure our name, address, and phone number are correct and consistently the same across different platforms, your website, directories, all that stuff. Really, we want to make sure these are, again, these are best practices. Another SEO best practice that is extremely important is to make sure that your website is set up in a way that makes it easy for search engines, including Google, of course, to crawl your website. So this involves using intuitive website navigation and XML sitemaps on the back end, among other things. If the search engine can't find your website online, it can't crawl it. And if it can't crawl it, it can't add it to the database. And if it's not in the database, you're not going to get found. So again, really important stuff and really understanding what exactly is SEO. Now, what is white hat SEO versus black hat SEO? Well, white hat SEO practices involve using optimization strategies that keep the human audience in mind. In contrast to using black hat SEO tactics that try to manipulate or outsmart the search engines and rules or algorithms. So for example, a white hat SEO strategy would be to create unique, informative content that is relevant to your targeted audience's needs. A black hat SEO tactic would be to pay hundreds of websites to link to your website. It's an attempt to trick Google into thinking that you have a lot of organic traffic linking to your site, which is typically an important indicator of high-value website. So really, the white hat is good, black hat is bad. And really, we really want to avoid black hat practices because they can, although sometimes very quickly raise your ranking, they can also permanently hurt your ability to rank in the future. So whenever you're using an SEO service, you want to make sure you're using a company that is very reputable and is going to do the correct way, which also isn't always the fastest way. So keep that in mind. Lastly, the other thing to talk about is really organic. This is organic search results. And the difference between them, again, are, and you may or may not be familiar with this, but for example, Google offers a pay-per-click service. You are bidding on a keyword every time it comes up. So at the top of a search results page, you're going to see, this is a little yellow ad, I think is what it is. That means someone is bidding to be on that place. Today, we're more focused on SEO, which is referring to how to rank in the unpaid section. And again, there are two different strategies with two different kinds of rewards, benefits to them. So a good strategy can involve not only SEO, but also SEM. And by the way, the difference between the two, SEO is search engine optimization, SEM is search engine marketing. So usually when referring to SEM, that's pay-per-click results, whereas SEO is organic results. So let's talk a little bit about Google's search algorithm. And you'll notice here we have a bunch of things that we want to talk about that you may have heard in the news, you may have seen online, or frankly, you may not have heard at all. But let's take a look. So Google's search engine algorithm takes into account about 200 plus factors when deciding where a website is going to rank. Now, Google's constantly updating their algorithm. And they do kind of really, I'm going to classify this as two different kinds of updates. One is a really large algorithm change that impacts a much broader group of people. It might impact 10 or 15 or 20% of ranking results. And then you have the small changes that they make on an almost daily basis that impact a very, very minute group of people. So with that in mind, let's start off with Panda. The Panda algorithm update occurred in September of 2014, and its focus was to help eliminate low-quality content. The reason for this is because a lot of black hat SEO practitioners were selling keyword-stuffed duplicated content to many websites, thus decreasing the informational value of the content. Basically what they were doing is they would write a paragraph of content for a particular keyword, then rewrite that same paragraph in really a poorly worded way. So for example, if you said, I am a veterinarian in San Diego, they would then say in another version of it, I am a veterinarian near San Diego, or I am a San Diego veterinarian, and it would basically have the exact same content worded in slightly different ways, spread out among tons of different websites, all linking back to your website. So Panda was designed to really combat that and make those much less valuable. In fact, almost to the point where they're a negative influence. So if you've done a campaign in the past like that, thanks when Panda made their update, it probably negatively impacted you quite a bit. So then Google released the Penguin algorithm update, which was in October of 2014. And that was designed to help eliminate spammy linking tactics, very similar to what it was trying to do in Panda. So it was just a further upgrade to kind of combat that. Then we have the Pirate update, which was also released in October 2014. And the reason it's called the Pirate update is because it was designed to target piracy websites, such as those that allowed users to download movies illegally. So if you're familiar with like BitTorrent sites, like Pirate Bay, things like that. Pigeon was then released in Google in December of 2014 to help enhance search results that are closely tied to a user's location. So for example, if a user searched for the term pizza, instead of delivering like, here's, this DiGiorno is a pizza, it would look for pizza restaurants that were located in close proximity to where the search was done. Then you have Hummingbird. Hummingbird's a bit different from the other algorithm updates in that it doesn't necessarily focus on the outside business's SEO tactics. Instead, Hummingbird allows the Google search engine to do its job better by improving semantic searchability. This means that Google search engine better understands conversational search queries and can deduce the intent and contextual meaning of terms used in search queries. So for example, in the old days when you were looking for something, you would try and simplify your question to the base. So let's say you want to know the height of the Eiffel Tower. You might just type in Eiffel Tower. Today, Google can actually recognize what it is you're asking for. You can say, what is the height of the Eiffel Tower? And Google will do its best to understand what you're actually asking for and find the answer to it. Now, Google's latest update, which we're calling the April 21st update, and the reason it's called the April 21st update, because if you probably guessed it, it actually came out on April 21st. This algorithm, and it's probably what most of you are familiar with because it was kind of a big deal, this algorithm penalizes websites that are not mobile responsive, which demonstrates Google's commitment to really ensuring that internet users have a user-friendly experience, whether they are searching on their desktop computer, tablet, or smartphone. Now, the reason this update is so important is because really this year is the first time we've crossed the threshold of mobile searches being the greater search volume than like a computer, desktop, or a laptop search. So more people are searching on Google on their phones than they are on their computers. It finally happened. So Google is trying to make a precedent to make sure that we are in fact delivering the best possible website for the device people are viewing us from. So that's why you'll probably hear a lot of discussion this year about mobile searches. So let's move along. So let's talk about common SEO mistakes. Now, according to Matt Cutts, who is the head of search spam at Google, and I think he's taken a little hiatus, but according to him, not having a website or having a website that is not crawlable is the biggest mistake that he sees. A search engine really must see a website and be able to crawl it in order to index it and include it in results. You need to make sure your website is crawlable. But it's not just limited to, having, user-friendly navigation. You want to, but it has to be intuitive. We have to do, the practice owners really need to make sure that, for example, an outgoing link or a broken link or any error is fixed. So for example, if you have put a link on your website that goes to an outside source, and that outside source either doesn't have that page there anymore, or it's moved, or doesn't exist, we now have a broken link. We have a link that goes nowhere, and we can get penalized for that. So we want to make sure that wherever we're linking, whether it's internally, if you're linking one page on your website to another, or one page on your website to an outside page, we have to make sure that link is still good. If it's not good, we need to fix it. So no 404 errors. Oh gosh, can't have pages with duplicate content. That's another one that Matt Cutts talked about. Do not copy content, and I'll put this out there for you guys. Never copy content from another source directly and paste it onto your website. Don't do it. If it's good content, link to it. If it's content that you think is really good and you want to rewrite it, rewrite it. Do not copy and paste it. You will get dinged, and potentially you could hurt the source that you're taking that content from. Speaking of content, the one phrase that you've probably heard, or I hope you've heard, is content is king. This is especially true in the eyes of the search engines. Because search engines' main objective is to return results that are informative, helpful, and pertinent to the user search query, some of the most content-related SEO mistakes that practices really make are really creating low-quality content or duplicate content. You really want to have something of value to share. The other thing is don't keyword stuff. For example, if you are trying to talk about Justin, if I was a chiropractor and I say Justin's a chiropractor in San Diego, I then don't want to write that sentence and write who practices in San Diego for San Diego clients, of chiropractic, medicine. You want to be straightforward. Google identifies what that is. We call that keyword stuffing. Don't overuse it. Make it so it makes sense. Google and the other search engines are very good at figuring out exactly what your content is about and ranking you accordingly. We also need to make sure that we are using the correct keywords when we're trying to decide, assign, keywords to a page. So if your page is specifically about a particular thing, make that the title and make that the meta description of your page. Don't just put chiropractor on every page because you're a chiropractor, but one page is talking about a particular kind of, a technique that we use. So, and of course, video. Gosh, always, if you can, use video. Video is huge. Video has such a great value and impact to your SEO. If you can set it up right and link back from like YouTube and doing the embeds, it's fantastic. So make sure you're using that. Another big SEO mistake that many other practice owners do is we focus too much on link building. Now, link building is incredibly important. It is so important because it's really how Google determines how important your page is. If you're a source and hundreds of websites are linking to you, that tells Google that your information is very good and trusted. And the more sources you have, the better you rank. Now, the problem with that is link building really shouldn't be forced. It has to happen naturally. Remember, again, content is king. So focus in on creating compelling content. That's what's going to drive other people to link back to you. Now, when you are creating all these pages and when you are creating content, you don't want to link too much to outside sources. So when we're talking about link building, really we're talking about linking out and linking in. So the one thing we do want is we want links coming into us. But what we don't want to do is force that. A lot of places, for example, you can pay and they will say, oh, we'll get you 1,000 backlinks. Well, the problem is the quality of those backlinks is so poor that instead of benefiting your website, it hurts it. So we really, 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 really want you to be careful about that. The other thing that I really wanted to talk about was when you are using like an anchor text. So when you're completing a sentence, you say, okay, click here for whatever this is, because you're ending a point, you want to send them to the source. Don't use the words click here as your anchor text. Use the keyword for the anchor text. So if you're a veterinarian and you're talking about, let's say you're talking about pet grooming, and you want to say basically click here to look at our groomer, to look at our groomers page. Well, instead of type click here, type groomers, type pet grooming, and have that link where they can click. So it's kind of very basic, but it does have quite a bit of an impact. Some other basic SEO mistakes people do, not using page title tags. Always title your pages. The meta descriptions are amazing and are huge for SEO. And using like H1 tags. Make sure you're not using the same, you're not using a different name, address, phone number in different places. So for example, if your address is 123 Fake Street, make sure it says 123 Fake Street everywhere, not just 123 Fake or 123 Fake Street or spelled out street versus ST. We want them to be the same across all places. Make sure you're using social media. Write blog posts if you can. Make sure your Google plus My Business profile is set up and claimed. And lastly, make sure you're using analytics and webmaster tools. These are fantastic free tools available from Google for you that really help you understand what your website's doing, where it's going, where it's lacking, and really gives you some excellent direction. And analytics and webmaster tools aren't easy to use, but if you're willing to dive in there, they're fantastic tools. So, moving on. The importance of having a mobile responsiveness for your website. So if you've ever tried to access a website that was designed for a desktop and you're trying to do it from your mobile device, you know it's kind of a pain in the butt. You have to swipe from side to side, you have to pinch and zoom, you may accidentally click the wrong link, and really that's what Google's trying to avoid. So with Google's latest algorithm update, they're recognizing how much a website's user-friendly experience matters. So we want to make sure that we are a mobile-friendly design, meaning we either are responsive in nature or we have at least a mobile-compliant website. So what I want to do is kind of explain or just give you a list of the reasons and the features that are built with mobile responsive designs and the benefits. So one is that it's simple navigation. It's easy to browse on a small screen, which often entails using a vertical navigation menu instead of a horizontal one. Keep in mind that phones tend to be vertical, so you want a website that goes up and down, not side to side. Two, simplified content layout. We want really basic design elements that look good, but they're easy to access, easy to click through, easy, they're not confusing as to whether they're clickable or not clickable. We want click-to-call functionality. We've got to be able to allow users to click a phone call. So when you go to a website, a lot of times a poorly done website might not have the correct setup for when you can click to call. So what ends up happening is they have to kind of switch between their phone and the phone number to try and dial in the number. Don't do that. Make sure you have the click to call set up correctly. You want clear, clickable call to actions. We don't want them, we want them right around between 44 by 44 pixels in size. This allows users to make an appointment at the push of a button or prevent them from accidentally clicking an unintended link. So we want really easy to understand, good, clickable buttons. A map. We want to put a map in there so users can easily find your practice. And for bonus points, if the map has GPS functionality. So like a Google map, for example, an embed would be perfect. And usually you can click straight from that to the Google Maps, which most people have downloaded on their phone. All right, let's talk about the value of custom content. Really, the value is huge. And really what we want to do is we really want you to write unique, useful content on every page of your website, which is broken down into easily digestible sections with subheadings. We want you to research profitable keywords and use them naturally within your content. Do not use keyword stuffing techniques such as Dr. Smith is a Los Angeles optometrist who serves Los Angeles optometry patients who are seeking an optometrist in Los Angeles. Be straight to the point and use them naturally. And again, Matt Cutts suggests that content writers don't just write Mount Everest height, but write how high is Mount Everest. Remember, it's the contextual, the understanding, the semantics of what it is that we're looking for. We want to get that answer for you. So the truth is, gotta write custom content. And you can put it anywhere. You can create pages, you can create blog posts. That's another good point, though. A lot of people will have a separate blog from their website. Don't do that. Make sure the blog is on the website. Let's give the website the credit for the content, not the separate blog. So if you have a WordPress blog that is outside, like on WordPress.com or Blogger.com, let's move that to your website, and this way we get some credit for it. So moving on. So why is SEO crucial for your business? Well, SEO still works, and it's not going to disappear anytime soon. Data shows that 80 to 90% of customers check online reviews before making a purchase or choosing a service provider. If a potential patient is searching for the best whatever you are in the city you're in, you want your practice to rank towards the top of the search results. By not engaging in any SEO tactics, not only are you potentially not ranking there, but you're allowing your competition to get way ahead of you in the game. So it's not just that you don't get it, it's that your competition might get the business. And that leads to the second point. Your competitors are doing SEO. Just because you may not understand it or have a good grasp, or maybe you can't afford to have, an outside service provider do it for you, that doesn't mean you should just ignore it. Most businesses have a web presence because they want to be available to potential new patients and clients. And if you're not doing this, keep in mind that your competition is. The practice down the street is. And if you don't need to do this, fantastic. But I have a feeling you probably do since you're on the webinar with us. SEO also offers metrics for measuring return on investment. Analytics can actually tell us what kind of traffic we're getting. We can see what kind of growth that we're getting. We can see what keywords are generating business for us. Where are people finding us? What pages are they going through? How long are they on the pages? We can even sometimes track, did they go the full way? Did somebody come to us from an organic result and actually call and schedule an appointment? SEO is fantastic because it is very measurable if it's done correctly. Also, obviously, SEO attracts the pertinent traffic with potential for high lead conversion rates. SEO is a highly targeted marketing effort thanks to the use of keyword research and analysis. You can actually determine how extensive your market is. You can say, I want to rank better for this particular keyword in this particular demographic in this particular area. You can do that. And so that's why you can get the ideal kinds of clients coming to you and seeking out your business. And then, of course, SEO puts your best sales asset forward, your website. Your website is a valuable resource that can provide information to potential and current patients 24/7. You don't have to have a receptionist on the phone available for calls. We can put your information out there. You can put your information out there. Your website doesn't take a vacation. So it's a great tool for you to use. You just have to make sure you're using it correctly. So the next question is, how do we maximize our SEO benefits? Well, the first and foremost is we really have to keep our business goals in mind. What are our goals? Are we trying to drive more traffic to the website? Are we trying to improve our lead conversion? Are we trying to get visibility in a local market? Each goal really requires a different kind of strategy. And really identifying what your goals are can help create the correct campaign for what it is we're trying to do. So for example, if the question is, what do I want to rank for, or I want to rank for this, that may be a different strategy than wanting to rank better in a local market for a different particular keyword. Or a conversion campaign might be entirely different. So first we've got to identify what is it we want to accomplish. And maybe it's all of those things, in which case you can create a kind of campaign for that. Now, the second thing is we need to know what our website is currently doing. It doesn't do us any good to do SEO without having a goal in mind as far as what we want to accomplish. How many visitors does the website get currently? What is our conversion rate? How many visitors does it take to get a new client? All of these are questions that we really need to know if we're going to measure our success when it comes to doing SEO. The last thing is we have to also be realistic. If you're in a competitive market, it is not likely that you are going to rank #1 organically if you're on the 3rd or 4th page in 2 weeks of doing SEO. SEO is an effort that is done over time and takes time. If you need to rank really fast immediately, SEO is not the way to do it. Pay-per-click advertising is. And that is a whole nother conversation. SEO is a longer-term solution. And you have to understand that in order if you're going to have success or be able to measure the success. So let us kind of wrap this up as far as the conclusion goes. So in conclusion, and forgive me, I'm pulling up my little cheat sheet with all the things that I want to talk about. SEO has a lot of facets. And in the end, it's about recognizing what it is that we're trying to accomplish, what mistakes we can avoid, and what campaigns we can begin. SEO is also not just one component is SEO. That's another thing that a lot of people, and I didn't talk too much on during the presentation is, but one thing that I really do want to explain is SEO, there's different levels of SEO. It's the easiest way I can explain this. There is little things that can impact SEO positively. There are huge things that have a much larger impact on SEO, and there's everything in between. A proper SEO campaign is going to be different for each individual business. Where you are, where you currently are located geographically, how much competition is in your area, what you've done in the past, what you haven't done in the past, what your competition is doing, and what your competition will do when you start to begin to do your SEO campaign. Keep in mind, this is a constantly changing environment, and best SEO practices are constantly changing. Google is always updating their algorithm, as are the other search engines that have, that play a role here. So we want to always be working on this, and it's always something we can do in the back end. Now, if you guys need further assistance, we have some great step-by-step instructions on SEO, things that you can do. We have some great brochures that break down, step-by-step, do-it-yourselves if you're up for that. We also offer services, like we recently introduced a premium level service that is a SEO-specific service for our clients. It is very good. It is really impressive, and the results are fantastic. So if it's something you want to do, don't hesitate to call us in. We'll take a look at everything that you're doing, and basically we'll create a campaign and do it all for you if that's what you'd like. Either way, we're here to support you. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, great. If you want, the let the pros handle it, great. But again, we have all the resources you could possibly need. You just got to reach back out to us and let us know. So finally, does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them as they come in for a couple of minutes, and we'll cut off there. So, by the way, I got a question in for someone who came in a little late, asking what is the actual definition of SEO. So I'll kind of go back. SEO stands for search engine optimization. And again, SEO really means SEO is really the best practices towards getting your website to rank better. So it's all about ranking well. The other thing, and this wasn't a question, but it's something that it just occurred to me that I forgot to mention, is that SEO isn't just about ranking #1 organically. SEO is about improving our visibility online. And sometimes what that means is simply improving our search results, improving our conversion rates. That is really what it is about. So in the end, when we talk to our clients about SEO, the goal is not to rank #1. That would be great. But the goal is to improve our visibility to the point where we are seeing more traffic come through our website, and that in turn is translating to more business. Let's see. Okay, so I have a great question regarding what, so I'll read this question. On average, how much traffic is a 6-month client who has done SEO with iMatrix getting? Now, that's a great question, but it's also a tricky one. And the reason it's tricky is because there's not really an average number. And the reason is because every market is incredibly different. We have clients who are in small and medium markets. We have clients who are in very competitive large markets. A client who is in the, way out in the suburbs versus a client who's in the city is going to see different traffic come through. But that being said, when we have clients who are using SEO with us, and when I say SEO, I'm referring to our premium level service, which is one of our highest SEO levels, we tend to see an improvement. And again, you have to forgive me on this because I'm using some kind of generic numbers that are kind of broad. But we tend to see really a vast improvement. And the improvement can be anywhere between 25 and 135% is usually what we'll see. It really just depends. It depends on where you are. If you're on the second organic position and we're trying to get to the first, to be honest with you, that is incredibly difficult. And it is hard to do. But if we can accomplish that one bump, that represents a 30% gain over, or we can represent up to a 30% gain over the traffic we previously had. And again, that just depends on how much traffic is coming through. Every market has different amounts of search keywords depending on the keywords. And not every client is going to want the same particular keywords. For example, a veterinarian who focuses in on small animal versus a veterinarian who focuses on specifically on equine or exotics has different traffic volumes depending on what we're trying to go for. A perfect example is a mixed practice veterinary hospital who does small animal, dog and cats, but also does exotics. They want to rank specifically for exotics. So we put our efforts into ranking for exotics. So again, traffic is relative to what our goal is. And that's why we always ask that. What is the goal? Because the goal will change the strategy and potentially the results. The SEO, as far as the question, how can we get access to the SEO do-it-yourself brochures? We have them available. They are usually online on our resource page. However, if you specifically want one, what I would recommend doing, the best way to do this, is to send an email to support@imatrix.com and ask for the how-to SEO PDF. And I know we update those all the time. We have a bunch of them, and we'll be happy to kind of steer you in the right direction. And try SEO on your own. There's nothing wrong with trying it. The one thing I would want to tell you about, and the difficulty most of our clients have, is in doing consistent SEO, adding new content every month. That is really key. We want to see constant growth. Google really likes when websites add content consistently. What you don't want to do is write 100 pages of content, add it all to the website on day one, and then sit back and watch the clicks roll in. It's not a good strategy, and in the long run won't be as beneficial as adding a couple of pages every month. So any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see. Got a couple of you on here. I'll give you another few moments to ask any last-minute questions before we wrap up for the day. All right, anyone else? Last chance. I don't know if anyone's seen the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but I feel like going Bueller. Bueller. All right, I think that's gonna. Oh, I got a laugh out of Jen. Thanks, Jen. Well, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in to our webinar. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call our support staff. They'll be happy to help you out. We also, for those of you who've been with us a while, our account development department is happy to assist you as well. If you want a little one-on-one love, we'll be happy to sit down with you, take a look at what your goals are, make suggestions for you. If you're not clear on what you can do on your side, or you want a little bit kind of more guidance, we're happy to help you with it. We'll point out, hey, I noticed that this is not the best way. Why don't we change this? Or, hey, we see that this isn't set up this way. We are here to support you, so please use us. That's what you're paying for. So anyway, everyone, thank you again so much. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.